Hello and welcome to the morning meeting building Jomboy Media. My name is Jimmy. His name is Maddie. We have a special guest on this episode, the COO of Jomboy Media, to talk about podcast convention and just her history with us and some fun stuff. Before that, I want to say hi to Maddie. How are you?
Good. I lost my 5 Minesweeper games on the train today, so I'm not that good, but fine.
Wow, all 5. Did you have any visible upset reaction and someone was like, "What? Are you okay?"
I make sure to have visible reactions just in case the person next to me is watching, because I want them to know that I unexpectedly lost.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a loser, just...
You're invested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Good to know. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoy the show and you watch it a bunch, you could subscribe. That helps. You can also leave comments on the YouTube channel, and we've been going through those and answering them or asking them to guess. So thank you for doing that as well. We have today we have a big all hands meeting, our first one in a little bit, and some changes will be happening with the company. Not big ones, but like internally, just kind of like mindset changes or kind of this and that, which we can share on the show as we go afterwards. Try to tell the company before I tell the public and stuff like that. And again, when you do hint and say words like that, people start thinking, "Oh, changes," and they start thinking like big shit. But it's not. So don't do that. It's going to be boring. Well, not boring if you like behind the scenes business conversations, but it's nothing like crazy. And then this week, Thursday and Friday of this week, so the 31st, we are running our full broadcast test of live streaming a 2-hour Blitzball show in the warehouse. So the first time that we will be playing a tournament live, no post edit at all. It'll be, so it starts September 7th, and there's opening ceremonies and then 3 games. So we're running that on Thursday, tomorrow, and all the problems and kinks we run into, we're going to write them down and come back Friday and run it again in the morning.
Yep.
I have us doing 4 games on Thursday. They're 1 inning. And the 3rd and the 4th will be on a time limit, like 25 minutes. If it's not over, we're not going like crazy extra innings and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then 3 on Friday. And I'm excited. It's a lot of hard work, and we'll see. I'm excited to see the audience reaction, because it's a couple things. One, doing a live league like this allows us to do the playoffs in front of a live audience, because there's no gap, right? There's no post edit. They're just done, and you can be in the moment following along. Every Thursday, there's going to be 3 games. Then the next Thursday, the 14th, there's going to be 4 games. Then the next Thursday, the 21st, there's going to be 3 games. And then the playoffs live at Billy's Bar in the Bronx, live audience. But by doing it live, there will be some quality lost. Like our post edit is fine-tuned, really fine-tuned when we do the Blitzball battle or any of the franchise, floorball coming out soon. And we just won't have that. And there's certain camera angles that we use that won't be there. So like we've already eliminated 2 camera angles that we use for Blitzball, but we only use them when we get to edit after the fact. They're like, "Oh, he hits this ball to right field, so switch and let's use this camera." But in live, Ronnie can't know if he's hitting it to right or hitting it to left, and we don't have like a giant baseball field where you get a little bit of breathing room to figure it out, then switch. Like, it's instant. So you just have to go to the one shot that has the whole field every time. So there are some limitations. Same with replays. Will just be a quad box of 4 different angles, and we're going to do a score bug graphic so you could follow along, but there won't be like batting average and all these other graphics coming on screen. So I hope our audience that tunes in for the live streams understands the give and take there. And then I hope we get people to come watch October 1st.
Yep.
Sunday, October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
The best parent-kid Sunday you can have if you have teenagers.
Or tweens.
Or tweens. Bond with your kids. Come watch some grown men play blitzball. I like these guys for his podcast. Like, all right, there's some We Got Ice fans out there who has dads who are breakdown or Talking Yanks fans or Talking baseball fans.
Yeah.
You know, dad listens to Talking Baseball. Kids watch We Got Ice.
Yeah.
Hey, let's hang out.
It's kind of like you.
Yeah.
And
James likes We Got Ice.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Talking Baseball. I like We Got Ice too. They both can have crossover, but it is cool. So, I don't know. I'm excited about that test tomorrow. Yesterday, I was racking my brain making the schedule, and it's a lot of work. Mostly because our broadcast crew, they've done it. They've live switched games. I feel like they know it. There's a little more seating and a little more, there's a little different of a layout and all that, but it's the fill in between games we've never done. While the other team's like 5 minutes warming up, let's fill this with conversations and topics and who's going to be on mic and all that. And then the biggest element is we are rotating the commentary booth. So it's the players will do it. So like when Jake's not playing, he's going to do play-by-play. When Jake's playing, Canobio's going to do play-by-play. And, you know, I'll do some games as color commentary. Zoe will do some games. Doyle will do some games. So when I was building the practice schedule, I was like, okay, we got to practice the actual switching and coverage and test the internet to make sure it can hold up. But we also need to get everyone some practice doing play-by-play and knowing where do you find the stats from? Where do you find the reads from? So that's what I realized yesterday. I was building a schedule. Like, oh, this is a little more like, I was like, we'll do like one game of play because we know how to cover that. We know how to play. And I was like, oh, no, never mind. I want everyone to practice.
Yeah. The fill, that's when I was on the morning show of high school, the teacher would tell us before like the years went live, at the very beginning, we did like practice session of you have to fill airtime because the cameras broke. And like you would sit there and you would just throw in an object and you and the co-host would just sit there and speak about an object for 10 minutes.
Just improv.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen when Moylan and Paxton had to fill on like a Zoom recording for like a post-game show? It's pretty funny. They're like drawing pictures and shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was a segment, so good for them.
I think that was like a rain delay fill. So we have a lot of that organized. We'll see. I'm not like over-organized because I think we're going to run into issues and stuff. And I built a cool set that only Maddie likes, I think. Sam doesn't like.
Yeah.
Neither does Jake, but Jake hasn't even seen. He just saw a picture of it.
I like.
You like it.
Mm-hmm.
Better than the other options we had.
Better.
I think when they see it with the banner up and Paxton on one side and them in the middle and the announcer up there, they'll understand like, oh, this looks like a one cohesive set.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, what's your problem? What's your color in? No. Maybe after this interview with my sister, Courtney, who's a COO of Jomboy Media. Enjoy! Now we're starting now.
Okay.
Hi, Court.
Hi,
Is this
Jim.
awkward for you?
A little bit.
I guess we've talked about you on morning, but a lot of people probably have no idea that you're my sister.
True.
I'm your brother, and you were the first like professional hire we ever had, and now you're COO.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do you have any filler info that you tell people from that journey that I just sped up in 3 bullet points?
I think I tell people that I was involved before I was fully hired. So people are, how did you get started in the company? Like, how did you decide that you were going to come on board? And Brett and I were very interested and always rooting for you. And we would talk about business stuff and how to grow it. And I would give you advice on sales. So when I joined, it felt like we were making things official, but I was already so invested beforehand.
Yes, because you and Dad are salespeople.
Yes.
And I am not at all. I kind of don't like it. Oh, I like it more now that I understand it more. But I used to. You were working a job that you weren't enjoying that much at the time. And we had
totally.
And we had someone helping us with sales that wasn't in the media sales department, and also was happy to get enough that he got their cut, which is fine. Like I'm not knocking it, but wasn't like trying to grow it. So I used to bring, hey, we just got this. What do you think to you? And you'd be like, yeah, I remember one time we were in like Connecticut Beach House, and you said, Jim, I could get you so much more.
Yeah, that would kill me because I would believe in it so much.
Yes.
And it was like my expertise. Like I did it.
And you had invested in it.
Right.
Yeah, and you were like, you should be getting so much more.
And
I was
there
like,
was
well,
nothing
do you
against
wanna
the guy that was working for you.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It just, you were 10 years in the industry of media sales and knew how it went a little bit. And then I was like, well, come work. You just taken the new job and moved to New Jersey. And I was like, well, shit. I think I said, well, shit, Court. Why didn't you tell me this 2 months ago? I would have said, come work for me. Yeah. And then it got to the point where you really didn't like that other job. So I was like, all right, well, come work here.
Yeah. And I always tell people that it's still new for us too. I know we've been working together for almost 3 years, but we didn't grow up having a family business. So people are like, wow, you work with your brothers. And that was never a vision of mine when I was early on in my career. Like, we didn't have a family restaurant. Some families are in real estate, so you could just naturally see yourself working together. I never envisioned this. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, I never envisioned any of this.
Yeah.
Maybe you and Dad working together at some point. Are you working for Dad, like when you were like out of college, like working for him? But I didn't envision this. And then the other thing that because Dad's listening to this, obviously, when we were trying to figure...
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad. When we were trying to figure out if you would come, if you wanted to, if I wanted to, and we were like going to Mom and Dad probably separately to be like, what do you think? Does he want me to work there? And I'm like, what do you think? Would she say yes? Like, what do you want? And I don't know if Dad did this and he was just kind of read you wrong, or he was setting me up to have a better conversation, but he was like, Jim, you should offer her just like a 1-year thing so she can transition out of this job, and if she doesn't like it, new job. And I was like, okay, I don't like whatever, I just need help right now. And then I said that to you, and you said, no, if I am in, I want to be in for the full thing. And I was like, yeah, okay. Well, the fucking dad told me that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want a 1-year job. I don't want to be half in, half out.
Yeah. I was like, well, okay. I was like, wow, Dad set me up to come in soft and not like scare you.
Yeah. It's funny because we are very direct, but a lot of things get done in our family through someone else. So we were each going to Mom and Dad saying, do you think the other person really wants it?
Because you know the conversation has happened. So it's like, hey, what's their vibe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you came in, and what you did in the first year was crazy. Like, you basically did what you were like, I could get you so much more.
Yeah.
And then our direct sales went through the roof, and we got DraftKings deals. Because I believe the way they were doing DraftKings deals was just bundling a couple things at a time. Mm-hmm. And you came in and said you worked on a wholesale 3-year deal.
Yeah, 2-year deal.
Which was able to change like the projection of the company, and then the investment from going and growing it and projecting revenue. Like, we 6x the company the first year you were with us, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy.
And then you were sales, building a sales team around you forever. And even our employees might not know, because I remember hearing when you went on Girls & Co., hearing Taylor Jackson interview you and be like, so what? How did you become COO? Yeah. Like, that was so crazy. What a ride. And when I sent the Slack to the company announcing the new roles, I didn't realize there would be that. I didn't realize how much people didn't know about how involved you were.
Outside of sales?
Yes, before that.
Yeah.
Like, and Luke said that to me once. He was like, I feel bad for Courtney because people don't know. They just think she's the head of the sales team. They don't know she's in every conversation with you on every aspect of the company, and with you and Jake. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I think that's
because
true.
For me, you were like, you want to be COO, and I was like, yeah, you're already doing that.
Right.
And I want to focus on content because I'm stressed out to the point where I'm getting diseases and shit.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I think that's true. I think some people knew how involved I was, and others thought I was more in the lane of just sales. And you didn't have that perception sometimes. You're like, well, you're like second in charge. Like, go tell them, go figure it out. Go do it. Go get it done.
Yeah. And you didn't feel empowered to go talk to anyone outside your department. Mm-hmm. Which I get now. And Katie, my wife, opened my eyes because you were texting me about it. And I was like, and I guess you had talked to her.
This is so funny.
Same thing about it. And I was like, she has to be COO. I said, yes. Katie's like, it's kind of a big deal. She's like really scared to ask, or like not scared, but like it was like a big conversation for you.
Right.
On my end, I was like, yeah, duh, sure.
Yeah, that's funny. I did talk to Katie before.
Like for me, it was just like,
and Katie really wanted me to do it because she was like, Jimmy is like needs to share some of the responsibilities and the pressure, and she was excited to kind of for us to work as a team that way.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it, but this year's we're in a little bit of a stressful because of the media situation. Last year was the worst year ever.
You think so? Last year was worse?
When I was burdening all of it, kind of feeling it by myself.
Yeah, that's true.
Situation with leadership.
Yeah.
And while you were on maternity leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I developed whatever fucking disease I have now, and stress-related psoriasis. And like,
yeah.
I wrote. Well, this is a little much, but I wrote. I had to tell the board to like make them believe me. I was like, look at my text with Jake over the last couple of months, and it was like me texting Jake like, I think I'm very worried that I'm going to have a heart attack. Yeah. And it was like a very serious, and that's when the board stepped in and was like, okay, like sorry, but that's what I told. Like last year, 3 times I told Katie, I said I'm very worried I'm going to be like one of those young 30-year-olds that has a heart attack.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to carry the weight by yourself. But I think we're in a much better place now.
Much better. And we had to get through kind of the last 3 months, which were a battle. And you see it across the whole industry of all these media companies doing layoffs and firing and trying to get a break even and get equal. And you just went to the podcast conference. What's it called?
Podcast Movement. And
you talked to a lot of other companies. And it was your first time getting a gauge on like us versus other companies in the space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a huge conference. It was the biggest podcast conference in the country. There's people there across the entire industry. So there's media companies like us. There is agencies that buy podcast advertising. There's measurement companies which measure the effectiveness of ads. And then there's actually like individual podcasters there, like creators. So it's a very mixed bag.
It's like winter meetings.
Yes.
Or probably any convention for an industry.
Yeah. It was awesome for networking, though. For me, it's really going there to network with our partners and agency partners and platforms like Spotify's there. And then also to learn from other media companies that are in similar situations. So I think that was one of the biggest takeaways for me is I talked to heads of sales or heads of CEOs of other media companies, which are similar size to us, employee count wise, and then also audience wise. And I see how they're doing things, and you can kind of like learn and share insights from them and then like stack ourselves up. But I think overall the perception of our brand is really, really good right now. So we have this brand recognition that when you know us, you know what we're all about. You love us. People were wearing our merch. People like stopped me in the hallways just to say, I love what you're building. I love what you're doing. So that part of it was awesome, that people were hunting us down, not the other way around.
Yeah, and it's funny because we feel that as creators. So like when Jolly does his video on the street and people notice him, when we guys go to Little League World Series and they notice him, Jake and I go to Yankee Stadium and we can't really like move from our seats. Otherwise we say hi to people, and it's very like you see the tangible network. I guess the sales team doesn't really get that experience often unless they're like, with us at an event. But this was in your world, them people doing that. So that's eye-opening the first time it happens.
That is very not normal for the sales team. Usually I sold in the past like advertising technology. It's not exciting. You don't have a direct relationship with the consumer. And people would run away from salespeople at these conferences. You don't want to engage with them, right? Kind of like how you felt at winter meetings sometimes.
Yeah, sales conference actually is crazy because at winter meetings, like there's guys that don't leave our booth and they're trying to sell us stuff. And we're like, dude, get out of here.
Right.
But the sales conference is only that.
Just
a bunch of people annoying each other.
Exactly. So to have it the other way around is so inspiring to be on the sales side or the business side of the house.
Yeah. One of the harder things from going from being like a small time creator where it's just me and Jake and our shows and not needing that much revenue, right? Just, if we want to be a lifestyle brand, which a lot of people are, is you can live off inbound requests. But the fact that, and that's the first year, what you did basically, and your team was all inbound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then as we grow and take on capital and try to expand, the pivot to going and getting outside, like not inbound, but outbound ads has to be, that's the biggest challenge we're facing kind of right now. So this podcast network is a step in the right direction of just networking and meeting.
Yeah.
Is that a good
yeah,
way to put
totally.
it?
I think that the majority of it before, when we first got started, was inbound leads. We still did those outbound leads and created really successful partnerships. Like the Shady Rays one was an outbound. And now we have to find, there are so many brands out there that want to target the community that we have. We fit within their target demo, but the people at these brands or agencies that are buying the media aren't always going to know us. So we can't just rely on inbound leads anymore.
Yeah.
We have to create these outbound relationships.
So you're a LinkedIn star now, that's why. Did you hear LinkedIn? Elon's going to make a new LinkedIn to rival LinkedIn.
Do you know I'm a LinkedIn star now?
Well, I know you're just as active as ever on LinkedIn.
I am. I feel the pressure of being a content creator now. I have to.
Have you networked with Jess? Jake's wife, Jess?
Jess helped me.
She's legitimately like a LinkedIn star.
She's inspired me.
Yeah.
But you know what I was thinking today?
She's gone viral on LinkedIn
because I have
bunch.
to put myself out there on LinkedIn, which is nerve-wracking for me.
Yes.
I was like, LinkedIn is so nice though. Like I would.
Is it?
Oh yeah, you don't get like trolls, like Twitter, people being
'cause
mean.
it's professional.
It's professional. It's your network,
Yeah.
so people are commenting, they're liking. Like if they don't like something, they just won't comment. I'm like, I wish Twitter was more like this.
Yeah, Twitter's bad. But our YouTube comments, majority of the time, are very, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice deal.
Oh, yeah, I spend a lot of time in
And
there.
Twitter as well, if you just ignore some people. I'm just...
Yeah.
what?
If you just don't read 70% of it, then it's nice.
If I have tricked my brain, which I'm so grateful because I struggled this for so long to not read tweets from accounts that don't have a human face on it. Like I have built that filter into my head where I'll just scroll past it, and if I see a face, then I'll read it. And it's a much better experience.
Yeah, I should take that.
But I've been too busy to even read comments. I used to spend a lot of time in there. Dad does it all for me now.
I see Dad in the comments every once in a while.
Yeah. I'm like, Dad, you know you're arguing with a 12-year-old, right?
Stop. I like it. I'm like, yeah, Dad.
You saw that kid on the street.
Yeah.
He's 12.
His best comment ever is on Wordle, and he called Steve out. That's so funny.
Oh, yeah. Well, he doesn't like cheaters.
No.
The Wordle was... If we kept that going, Office would have got hostile.
It was getting heated.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was getting
it was getting heated.
Yeah, people
To
would have
the
opened
point.
podcasts trash talking other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hostile.
All right, so we have some questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is easy. What is the biggest goal for 2024 in your eyes as COO?
I think what we're talking about earlier is building brand awareness. I think growing our audience from the consumer side, but also from the business side, and getting more people familiar with our brand that don't always consume our content, like our diehard fans. And then I think I could say this here, but we want to build a website. Have you said this here?
I've talked about that for ever.
Okay.
But now it's...
So yeah, that's
we're
like a real
We're not
goal.
even an actual step closer, but we're just like, hey, let's actually do this.
Yes.
But we haven't done any tangible steps
Yes,
yet.
but
But I want
that's
to.
like my focus for the back half of this year is scoping that out. What is it going to entail? How long does it take? What do the finances look like? So we'll see that come to life next year.
Because there's media companies out there that don't have the audience we have, don't have the retention we have, the engagement we have, don't have the pull we have, but make probably not as much as us, but make a sizable amount of money on just website traffic.
Yep. Then
Which
it's
is,
just
like,
really
crazy.
passive income for them. They don't have
Yeah.
to do much.
Some companies get started because they have tech and an engineer, and other companies get started because they have engagement and audience. And we are still I think we're too deep to have not tackled the other half.
The tech.
Our half is way harder to do.
Oh, yeah.
To be engaging content and pull an audience that really enjoys you and wants to follow you and roots for you is the hardest thing in the world. Like, we're very blessed to have that. It's like, okay, well, now let's go make that money that you just make because you know fucking
Right.
algorithms.
Right. Yeah, but
Would
that
really help us.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a big goal. I think the combination of the two as well is going to really help accelerate growth for us next year.
And on the business side or the sales side, it's taking all the content that we know we're going to do that we know has already won and organizing it in a scheduled fashion so the sales team can get ahead of it and marketing can get ahead of it and all of that.
Oh, yeah. Goals for next year. Just like
Yeah.
planning out the whole programming calendar, having things locked in advance. I think that all stems from.
Like the warehouse, I have the whole year for 2024 mapped
Yeah.
out.
I think we did a good job of that this year in the beginning. And then we kind of just let things get ahead of ourselves and got back to the same place.
Yeah, well, for the warehouse specifically, we are not allowing anyone to dictate the schedule besides like Rose and Trev.
Yeah, that was hard.
And we had too many people think like, oh, I can't make that day, so then we change. I can't make that day, and it maybe it wasn't to the point where I felt empowered now, but now it's to the point where like, hey, this is a huge way to grow your brand and put you out there, and it's a 30-person effort. This is the date.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing on your calendar. If a wedding pops up, you have to do this thing. That's like
Right.
how I feel like you should feel about it.
Yeah.
Like a baseball player not missing a game or anything like that, because this is the number one thing in your calendar. So we're trying to get the dates out earlier, but that should help.
Yeah.
Because last year we had to move so many dates to accommodate all the people. And it's like, well, we accommodate Rose and Trev
And that's it.
and Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all now. So it should be easy. But on the other side of content, it's to just keep going more. Like the scheduled out part is what we know we already have. And then we need all the creators to like
Yep.
keep going, building more. I'm talking about this for everyone. I feel like we lost our hunger a little bit this year on the creatives front.
Yeah. I think that's goes across all teams. I think all teams have seen it, that we need to step into gear a little bit more.
Yeah. Favorite behind the scenes Jomboy Media story?
I was excited about this one.
You were?
Yeah. So my favorite story behind the scenes was opening day 2021. Yes, opening day 2021. It was, yeah,
Okay.
it was still kind of pandemic-y. I get like blurred and where we were in the pandemic life.
Well, yeah, it was because it was
But-
actually May.
Pre-vaccine.
It wasn't even April though.
Yeah, April 1st. It was April 1st. Yeah,
No.
I think it was.
I thought it got pushed. But that was 2022 that got pushed.
2022
Yeah, I
got
think
pushed
it was
a week.
April 1st.
Okay, so maybe
2021.
but it was just no fans.
No fans. I mean,
Yeah, I have the picture.
at that point, it was like pre-vaccine.
So I was on board. I came on board December. So that's when I really started. I came on board December 2020. And my favorite behind the scenes moment was opening day 2021 because I was really into the groove of things by then. I had 3 full months to get sales in, get a structure going, get a process in place. There was so much excitement within the company for opening day, and there still is now. And I remember I went over to Mom's house and I worked from the living room, and we had all the games on, and my mom made hot dogs and sauerkraut, and she had I was decked out in Talking Yanks gear. We got Budweiser came on board, and they did some social media activations with us. I was really proud to get Budweiser in. Brett, my husband, who's also invested, was in full Talking Yanks gear. He went out to the store, got Budweisers to celebrate. We were drinking. And then it was the first time I really experienced how there is really no barriers between our content, what we are building in our community, and then also our partners. So watching the live stream and seeing how active the chat was and how you guys were engaging so much with the chat and that camaraderie. And then also we had sponsors. We had 3 sponsors, and I can't remember 3, but I remember it was FOCO, and I remember it was Manscaped. And then it was one more. I don't know if it was Dugout Mugs. And there was a rain delay. Or some game got postponed, so we were trying to figure out which stream should we do, what are the advertisers going to want, and want more. And we it was just like we're all like really working together to make it happen. And there was a lot of excitement. And then for the first time I experienced you all doing a live ad read on a live stream and a client texting me in the moment how they like the ad and giving feedback.
That's
And it
cool.
was positive. And I was like, wow, I'm so close to this. Like, this is so intimate of an experience
Yeah.
that it was so different than anything else I've worked on before.
That's always a real hard reminder that I try to remind the creators decently a lot, and myself, is like, the person who sold this is watching.
Yeah, that's like
And then
so
it's
much pressure.
it's kind of pressure. And we do well, like we did well before I realized that. But that might have been the first time, like, oh, wow. You think soulless company just bought this ad.
Right.
You know, and they buy a million ads. But there's one guy that, like, chose us and has sold it, and then he's
Right.
watching. And
Well,
he's
and
like,
at that time, it was our fans were buying ads from us, like you just talked about, right? So they were naturally watching the content anyway, and that's kind of why we got the advertising
Yeah.
buy. So they were really tuned in and listening.
we did a 3-hour stream that day, and Trev was in town. I'm looking at the stats of it now. So Trev came out for that. That's cool.
Yeah.
4-hour stream almost. The Yankees lost in extras.
Brutal.
We have someone in the comments wrote questions for you, and then I wanted to tell you one thing as well. We kind of talked a little bit about these, but questions from Dave SP. One was biggest thing you learned from the podcast convention. Did you cover that already? Or Dave SP is from Australia or London or somewhere else, because he spells favorite with a U. So this is an international
the iPhone
question.
also autocorrects that way for me. So
That's because you lived in Australia. You still spell it that way.
biggest thing I learned, I think in the industry, a lot of people are talking about programmatic audio reads, like those dynamically inserted reads, and the preference is still the host read, baked in live reads, and the quality that you get from them, the experience for the listener, and then also they just perform way better for brands. So I kind of already knew that, but like that really doubled down for me that is like the number one advertising mechanism for.
You think the industry is going
podcasting.
to go back to those? Because it kind of pivoted
Yeah.
all to these inserted dynamic where you're listening
No,
to
I
like
think you're
going to
see it swing the other way a little bit, and people know that the experience all around is just way better. I think the biggest learning for me and kind of a challenge we have in the industry is I think you're not really just a podcaster isn't just, a podcaster anymore. You are a personality, and you come to life on a podcast, or you come to life on social media, you come to life a video on YouTube. And I think the space used to be more fragmented, where you were either an influencer and you just live on social, you were a podcaster and you did that, or you were a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And they set up the industry to buy in these silos. So they'll have one agency that just buys influencer campaigns. And then they'll have one agency that just buys podcasting. And that doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, because we can offer you a package of all of it.
Right. And that's how we deliver the best partnerships, is when you come in for everything holistically. And our clients, our most premier partnerships, we're working directly with the client that is really into buying us 360 across all these different avenues. So I think there needs to be a little bit shake up with the industry, as you can't just be so siloed, because it's all kind of blended together now.
And on their end, they have different departments, so they almost fight with each other over it. Like, no, we're going to get podcasts from them. And then like some places have divvied out their budget that way.
Oh, totally.
Like, we have this much for podcasts, so we'll buy the reads here. And like, okay, well, we can give you, the reads on Talking Yanks, but also there's going to be a Talking Yanks live stream. And also we can post on socials clips of this. And they're like, oh, no, this is just podcast budget. So then it's like, well, like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll do that for you, but we can really give you a lot more.
Right. It's like the red tape of it all
That's my biggest
kind of
problem.
hinders performance. And
My biggest problem or gripe with the industry is that they won't allow us to help them in the way that we want them to, or the way that we know it will. Like, they want this, and I'm like, okay, well, you want views, right? Or you want new users, right? can tell you 100% the best way for that I can get our audience to get new users or new viewers or purchasers for you. And it's by doing this. And they're like, well, no, we only want this. And I'm like, well, then like you can't go to a burger shop, just order the fries and leave a review on the burger.
Yeah. You can't have it both ways. You can't say what's the best way you know how to influence someone. And then when we have an idea, say, no, we don't. You can't do that.
Yeah, not even an idea, but like a multi-platform approach.
Right.
Or like we're gonna do this day, and then this day. Like I know how to build like the storylines that our audience likes, or how to make it part of the content so it's fun. And sometimes they don't have the full vision.
Yeah,
not all. We've obviously found certain brands
that
like are awesome, and I always go as above and beyond for them because that's so important. But yeah. All right, personal favorite podcast. That's also from Dave on the YouTube.
Oh, Dave. So I flip back and forth between business podcasts and then reality show podcasts. So I've been listening to Guy Raz. He had the How I Built This, but he has another one called Wisdom from the Top, and it's about executives coming into like major corporations and leading. And like he did, I think PayPal was the last one. So I've been loving that on the business side.
I listened to a bunch of How I Built This. I like that a lot.
I like him. I love all of his podcasts.
You have a question?
Yes. Opening day 2021 live stream. Foco, Manscaped, hat flags.
Oh, hat flags. I forgot about them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Did you know that you and your team won Employee of the Week?
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you want to see?
Congrats.
It only took almost 3 years.
Maybe.
And it's a group. It's a group award.
It's a group.
Yeah.
win.
Do you want to see?
You won 1/10 of the award.
Okay, great.
No. Just the four of them.
1/4.
I'll show you.
It's the employee of the week. It's the employee of the week. I think it's employees.
Employees of the week.
Boring.
Our sales team, they went to Colorado for the podcast conference, and they like hosted their own happy hour, and they made connections, and they were like, we had so much fun.
They did some
bonded.
like nose to the grindstone
Yeah.
stuff. A little
Nose to the grindstone.
We're gonna set up a table and we'll be down there, and why don't you come by?
did.
You get a
Came
sticker,
by.
you get a sticker, and you get a
know
sticker.
What? You should show up every day with your resume.
And there's more stickers.
We did this.
People forget.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And shout out to Alethea because there was this couple having dinner at we did this we set up our own happy hour and we invited, 50 people, send them calendar invites. And we scouted this place out in the restaurant where we wanted to have the happy hour, but there was a couple having dinner there. So I was like, we need to make the move. Like, we need this spot.
Do you
So
cough on their food?
no, I was like, we could buy their dinner if they move. That was my thing. And then I got a little nervous, but Alethea's like, no, I'm going to do it. We need the spot. So she went up and interrupted this couple's dinner and kindly asked them to move. And they were totally on board with it.
Well, they got their dinner paid for?
Yep. And then we paid for their
Nice.
dinner.
That's
So it's a
awesome.
win-win.
Did you give them some JM swag?
Oh, yeah. We offered them stickers.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I recently watched a video of a guy who said that when he's at sporting events and there's a long line for beer, he just goes all the way to the front and says,
That ginger guy?
what is Andrew Santino? I think that's his name. Yeah. And he said he goes all the way to the front and he just goes, hands money. He goes, I got yours if you order 3 more.
Yeah. I mean, that works. I would take
I
it.
hate lines.
I know. I would do that. That's a win-win.
Yeah, that's such a smart move. Cool. All right. Thanks
Cool.
for joining us.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
You did 2 podcasts this year and you're only supposed to do 1, so.
Yeah.
What do you mean supposed to do one?
All right, that was Courtney Hirsch, not Courtney O'Brien. She got married, changed her name. One of our like leaders retreats last year, our former CEO Andrew asked Courtney and I like, so how often do you guys talk? Because we're brother and sister, we live close, we're a very close family. And Courtney and I just looked at each other and we're like, always? I don't think we're ever not in a texting conversation. Like it would be like, a couple hours where we're not like texting. I was like, we were just like always. Yeah. Like we're in our family group chat. We're in this chat. We're in a chat with both of our significant others about kids' play dates. And he was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, constant.
Do you start the conversation with hey, or is it just a everlasting.
No,
We're not going to start
yeah,
this
yeah.
again.
There's no starting and stopping. That'd be interesting. The last convo, I just sent her screenshots. That's how that one started. No, hey. She texted. Blank reached out again. Do you want to chat with him? So no, like, hey. I said, are you traveling today and tomorrow? No, just constant. But yeah, it's a good thing. It's been fun. We have questions from the chat. Maddie's gonna from the YouTube comment, and we're gonna speed round answer these.
Yep.
Speed round answer your YouTube comments. Thank you for leaving them, Maddie. You can take the floor.
All right. Ready?
Ready.
Have you thought asked, have you thought about adding drafts back to the rotation of what you're doing now? GeoGuessr, watching, ranking, drafting.
Oh, like Jomboy Jig radio drafts. I thought about it. I don't know.
I think that they could fill a spot in playing, but
I thought they got to a really, 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 really lazy point in content down the stretch in JJR, and I didn't enjoy that. So we'd have to. I thought they were really good at the beginning, and then I thought just due to busyness and somewhat topic, like when we were just doing alphabet, I was like, this stinks. This is lazy. But if we had like a Joe's, Doyle, Zoe, Jolly, Paxton third, Canobio, like that would be fun.
Cool. Sports Talk with Jordan asked 2 questions. One of them overlapped with the question.
Wait, I didn't like the drafts because the whole point of them was to draft picks and then shit on each other's picks and like joke around. And then we would do that. And then the comment section would, and like our nice comments would be like, Jimmy ruins these drafts. He's always like grouchy. And I'm like, that's the point of the thing, is to shit on each other's picks.
Yeah.
You want to win.
Yeah.
You're like politicking away. So then I was like, I don't think what I want these to be and what the audience accepts them as is the same thing. So I don't like this.
Sports Talk with Jordan also asked the same question as Michael Cahill. They said, what happened to the football show with Rose and CJ Uzama?
Paying talent is expensive, and making money off a show that doesn't go 5 times a week is tough, or 3 times a week is tough. So I just think, you go forward with your best effort and you want everything to work, but when there's agents and price points involved, it's tough for it to be sustainable.
Yeah, other football content coming soon to fill that void.
Yeah, we're gonna lean into football.
Same Jordan asked another question. What if you were never kicked out of the alley? Would there have been a warehouse?
Yes, because we were leaving that office space anyway. When we left the office space to move to Manhattan, that was happening no matter what, so we would have been done with the alley. I also thought that the alley wouldn't last that long anyway. When we got to a point where I was like, Jake, we should start taking this on the road and do other places, because the lifespan of the two of us playing in the same alley, as long form YouTube videos is going to, that's not a long shelf life.
Yeah. Speaking of the warehouse, Ben Meyer said, did you guys buy more of the warehouse in order to implement those new rooms?
Yes, we kind of had to, because the loft isn't safe for as many people as we had up there, nor did we have as much space up there in the lease as we were using. So the landlord, who's an awesome guy, worked with us and was like, well, I have this space down here. You could use that, and we can white box it for you. So if the loft was super stable, it's not good timing for us to have to buy more of the warehouse as a company financially, but we had to do it because the loft was unstable, and we also didn't own that full space. So we still will have the loft for the announcers to stand up there, but we really only own we only put 4 people up there at a time. So I wanted to buy more space. I want to buy the other half of the warehouse, which is a bummer because someone just bought it for 15 years. So we'd have to buy them out.
Shoot.
Yeah, the cabinet people.
15 years?
I think, 10-year contracts are usually what you do. So it'd have to be so much more successful. But yeah, we did get more space.
Yep. And there's also a ton of warehouses right there, if not that exact building, that if we wanted to expand, there's right there options.
Yeah, I do love. I've fallen in love with the visuals of this place. Inside, like the blue and
Oh yeah.
the aesthetic of it. If anything, I also want to find, and way down the line, find a way to replicate the warehouse walls and stuff in a easy to assemble way, and then you could go to any gymnasium or convention center in the country and kind of plop down your set and play. Because if we just played Blitzball without walls and without ceilings, we're just it's just Blitzball. But what makes ours so fun is the fucking pinball effect.
Yep. Stoltzis Mangus asked, could you speak to the speech impediment that you had when you were younger? Just curious what or who helped you. At what age did you see significant improvement, and if it ever manifests itself today? I've heard you speak about it briefly on previous content. Would love to get a better picture of those struggles, transitioning to becoming a public figure who is speaking to a huge audience on a daily basis.
Good question. Yeah, I had a rhoticism, it's called. So it's when, you say twain twack and whale woad and you can't say your arse. It's a rhoticism. I had a lazy tongue, but speech impairments run in my family. My grandpa stuttered. I have uncles who stutter and stammer. I have cousins. I don't know if it's technically hereditary, but it runs in my family. So like I've told Katie, we have to be on the lookout for James because you have to just tackle it quick. So in kindergarten or first grade, I think kindergarten, I went to a Catholic school. I would get pulled out of class and there was a trailer on the school grounds where the speech therapist was, and there was like 4 kids in there who had S's or lisps, and I had a rhoticism. I thought I was better than them because I got further down the alphabet. Q, R, S. Or no, I didn't.
No, they all thought they were better than you.
Whatever. I was the only one that had that. So I just had to build up tongue strength. I would literally have to go home, and my homework was, as a 6 or 7-year-old boy, was to sit at the table and, with my parents watching, make a bowl out of my tongue. All ridges. You can't just do the tip. Got to do the sides too. I can't see yours. It's up. Yeah, but you're way up. And then my dad would hold a popsicle stick in my mouth, and I'd have to press against it. Kind of like when you get a physical and they hold your arm and they go push against my arm. There you go. Perfect bowl. Couldn't do that. And that's what I had to do. And then
Interesting. I had to go when I was in kindergarten, but it was very brief, and I forget what it was for.
I only did it for 1 year. So, and I think it snapped out of it, but I also would say all my J's as B's. So my aunts and uncles all have stories of me saying like, my neighbor's name was Jeremy, and I would say Bormy. I'm going to Bormy's house. And I'd be, who? I'm Bormy. And then the garage was the barrage. But the trouble you get is some people just think it's really cute, and then they don't fix it, and then it's really hard to fix later on in life.
Right.
So yeah, you gotta tackle it. Yeah, it was a rhoticism. But then I find talking now, we move so much that I avoided myself of accents. So when you're a new kid, I moved to Australia when I was 8, and we had an American accent. Couldn't do much about that. But then we moved to Illinois, and I thought, okay, I won't get comments about my accent anymore. But then they would laugh all the time because I would say water, I would say tournament, which I still say. I would say orange instead of orange. And it's just East Coast shit.
Bagel?
Yeah, bagel. But they say Kiamnitri and like
I don't even know what the hell you just said.
Kierits. Cabinets. Kiabnits. It's all.
I see now.
But so my sisters still have more accent than me because I was like so shy and didn't want to get picked on that I was just like, fine, fuck it. And I already went to speech therapy. I can change how I talk. So.
Nice. Makes sense.
That probably helped me. It probably helped me talk all day than hurt is what I'm saying because I know how to tackle it.
Right.
I also know how to not get stuck saying like the same phrase or the same word constantly where other people just fall into a trap of like their escape sentence. I don't think I do that. Or I'm very aware of it. Like when we're doing shows and everyone is saying toxic every second, I'm like, guys, stop.
Oh yeah,
This
sure.
is too much.
Sure.
Or Jake always falls in love with a phrase he says, you know, like half. I think that one was before we started doing stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one from him.
He always has a phrase that's basically like a shrug, like half, or a little bit of that, a little bit of this, or he always is dancing around one of those. And he says it for a while.
The last question from the YouTube comments from last video, Levi Moknin asked, if the Astros cheating scandal did not happen, do you think you would have grown to where you are today?
Yeah.
I heard about you first from that.
Yeah. I mean, we already had our first investment. We already had, Jake and I, like, were able to pay ourselves real salaries by that time when we moved to Manhattan and got an office space in the Bronx and had investors, like the most valuable investor group that we still utilize to this day. And a lot of people first heard about us there, but a lot of people first heard about us from other videos, and other shit happened that people first heard about us. So I don't think that it helped us grow for sure. I'm not denying that, but the next thing and the next thing and the next thing in the baseball world, we've tackled and people saw. So like, if you didn't see us from the Astros, but you're into baseball news, then you would have just seen us from the next and the next and the next.
Yep.
You know, like Talking Yanks was well on its way.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that had anything to do with Boone coming on the show. And once you get a manager in the show, then like everyone in the baseball world's gonna know you. Or Rose joining us, you know. So like, no, I don't think we wouldn't be where we are today without it. It speed ramped that year for sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Is that all of them?
That's all those questions.
Well, it's 9:32. You said that you needed to be out by 9:30, so I've kept you for 2 extra minutes, and we apologize for that.
We all do.
Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Leave comments for the next episode.